Hey, what's up everybody? Julian Michelucci here. Welcome to my YouTube channel and thank you for watching this video. Today I wanted to talk about our family reunion that we had last year. It's actually been one full year and so many things have happened throughout the world and everything. And I'm also going to talk about that a little bit. I mean, this video is going to be kind of a mixed bag. But I hope to provide you some inspiration with this video, whether you're related to me or someone that is just watching this YouTube video for something motivational or uplifting. But yeah, I mean, what made this family reunion last year that we had for the Lenchi Lottie Michelucci side of my family was that we had not had a family reunion in over 30 years. So that's sort of what made this special. And the thing about this reunion was, it wasn't something that we just put together over a weekend. There was a lot of hard work involved. There were a lot of people that helped. There was a lot of fortune involved. It taught me a lot. It taught me a lot about perseverance, not giving up, being resilient. There were times where, because it had been 30 years, I didn't know if it was going to work. A lot of it involved finding family members, finding where they all are. And this took over a year. It was a long process, but in the end, it was definitely worth it. And so I hope that this video will provide you with some inspiration. So, till this day, I'm still getting a lot of questions. Like, people still ask me, like, what was the motivation? Why did you get into, finding family members and that kind of thing? And so, it is June 30th, so I thought I'd get into that a little bit more. But I am also going to talk today about what's going on and things like that. It's great to be positive, but at the same time, we have a lot going on in our world, and 2020 has definitely been, it's been a different year. I mean, of course, we've had, the pandemic and, things going on with the economy and the protests and all that. There's been so many things going on. And even before all this happened, like 2020, so many things have happened that, if you're a sports fan, you'll know what I'm talking about. But a lot of people forgot, in late January, Kobe Bryant passed away. He was killed in a helicopter accident, him and 8 other passengers. And that was one of the saddest times in sports history, and then who would have, the whole world was focused on that, or at least it seemed like it. And then all of a sudden, when everything else started happening, a lot of people forgot about that, and that just goes to show how, crazy of a time that we are in. And so what are you doing to cope with it or take your mind off of it? Because, we still have to, try to be positive. Let me know in the comments below what you've been doing. For me, I've been doing a lot of outdoor activities like hiking and biking, and I've just had a lot more, time to do that. And it's definitely helped me, get away from a lot of the negativity. I am very informed, with everything that's going on, but at the same time, when you pay too much attention, it can be a little bit detrimental to your mind. A lot of people are depressed, and that's the truth. Whether you want to face it or not, a lot of people are depressed. There are times when I, go through things and I'm like, dang, it just doesn't feel the same anymore. Things are getting better, but, they're not perfect. And, I had a friend call me up the other day, and he said that he knew I was going through things, and he called me up. He said, when someone's depressed, you have to, reach out to them. I wasn't really depressed, but I was going through things, and, like we all are. And so if you have friends that say they're depressed, I definitely recommend to give them a call. And when I say give them a call, I don't mean just text them. I don't mean just, Facebook message them. And that's the problem too with, you know, today's world. A lot of times I feel like we're more disconnected but more connected than ever. A lot of times people, they think the best way to reach out is just to write an email. And I don't think so. I think a phone call would be a lot better. And also, you know, spending a lot of time on Facebook, watching the news a lot, it can make you angry. It can make you insightful. You see people fighting. It can make you apprehensive. Sometimes watching the news too much, although it's good to stay informed, it can make you feel very afraid. And some of you know what I'm talking about. It can make you very afraid, whatever the case may be. In today's world, it doesn't matter whether you're rich, poor, whatever group you belong to, all of us are going through something. So definitely reach out to someone if you know they're going through something. You know, it's been a heavy year, let's face it. Be respectful, stay safe, and, you know, I'll be the first to admit, you know, do I have opinions on certain things? Yeah, I have strong opinions on certain things, but I'm also the first to admit, you know, I could be wrong about a lot of things too. And so, you know, have opinions, but, you know, you don't have to, you know, kill other people at the same time. But that's just the way I feel. Like, we're all human beings and we're all going through something. So let's, you know, get through this together. Now, as far as, you know, the family reunion, you know, so many people have thanked me, and I, you know, I feel so blessed to have all of you a part of the family. All of you were so kind. But I also wanted to thank, you know, everyone else, because there's so many people that, you know, the event wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for them. And I also want to thank all the family members that participated in this movie. Here we go. Italian Reunion. Remember this? For me, it was so fun to be able to travel and meet so many members. So many people were involved in this movie. And many family members I didn't even get to see at the reunion, but they were part of this movie. So that was really cool. You know, it wouldn't have happened without you. You know, there's so many family members I met of the Petrini family in Washington. It was so awesome to meet Ricky Webster in Spokane. You know, he's part of the Lenchi family. He's a famous cook. He actually won a cooking competition a few months ago. It was really amazing to watch. Remember the guy from Melrose Place? What was his name? I think it was Peter Wag. No, he played Peter. But you know who I'm talking about. He was in Melrose Place, and he was the one that announced on TV that Ricky won the competition, and that was really, really cool. Yeah, and also the Webster family in Oregon. You know, we had some of you in the video, in the movie. That was really awesome. Now, as far as the reunion, you know, so many people, you know, got on board and they helped, and, you know, we are all so grateful for that. Diane Conklin did a fantastic job. Diane Conklin is Romeo Michelucci's granddaughter, and she did all the displays at the reunion. You know, so you saw the family trees. Oh, and also Erica Rigling and Laura Del Rosso, they are part of the Pacifica Museum. They let us have the displays about our family in Pacifica, because they had them at the museum. I mean, and then we had that at the reunion. So the timing was just crazy. And I, you know, got a hold of them through Francine Bravetti, and that is a whole nother story in of itself, how we all met. But anyways, you know, Diane did a fantastic job. You know, she helped run the meetings. We had family committee meetings. We needed to have those, you know, throughout the process so that everyone knew what they were doing. You know, her daughter, Kristen Verdoya, did an excellent job advising us, as well as Gina Michelucci, Gina Mathers. They both helped with advising everyone. Diane's granddaughter, Noelle, she took some fantastic photos at the reunion, hundreds of them. And by the way, she's a great photographer. Those photos were very professional. I also want to thank my friend Jimmy, James Schumann. You know, he helped, you know, a bit with this movie here. He's kind of like a video technician, and there were a lot of things I didn't even know how to do, and he helped with that. And, you know, we were staying up until 1 a.m. a lot of times finishing the movie. But anyways, also Father Ray, right? Remember Father Ray? Father Ray. He did a great job. as the MC at the reunion. You know, in the movie, he was a priest. He's a great priest. He's a great actor. He's a great MC. So, I mean, the event wouldn't have been as fun without him. Who else am I forgetting? Thanks Wendy and Cassidy for helping, you know, set up the event, like all the balloons and everything. That was really cool. You know, oh, my father, Joe, he actually made the slideshow, the family history slideshow. So if you haven't watched that, check it out. I'm going to post that online later today as well. But that slideshow, that's like in chronological order. I didn't even know it. I didn't even see the slideshow until like the reunion and then after. You may have seen it at the reunion, but you know, I'm sure you didn't get to see all of it, right? Because there was so much other stuff going on. So definitely check it out. There's some great Italian music. There's some great music in general in that slideshow. And again, just thank you to everyone. You know, thank you to everyone in the family. You know, whether you attended the reunion or not, just thanks for the support. So for me, as far as like finding family members, like how and why, and you know, what were the motivations, I gotta admit, it is hard to figure out where to start, right? There's so many different things that I could talk about. So it you know, this might get a little bit disorganized, but I'll try to stay on point. Throughout the process, you know, so many were asking how many were going to come. And the truth is, I did not know how many were going to come. Like, I had no rough idea at all, really. And, you know, I had never really been involved in something like this before, so I had no idea. And I wondered the same thing, too. I wondered if anyone was going to come. But, you know, in the end, it was very successful. We saw so many, you know, different, you know, family members. Now, how did I, like, do it? Like, what were the things that I did? Well, a lot of it was Ancestry.com. So I had met Diane Michelucci Conklin and Jenny Perez Mullen and other family members through Ancestry. But that was just kind of like, you know, at the very beginning. And then after that, you know, I started the Facebook group. I started not only the group, but the genealogy page. And that was sort of like a funnel to get people to come to the group. And then I started the Instagram, and we tried a lot of different things. Everything was important. I also joined 23andMe. I joined GEDmatch. I joined Family Tree DNA, and we found relatives from all of them. And I wasn't doing it to, you know, find out, you know, so much about the ethnicity. It was more about finding out who you're related to. Another thing that was very important was the white pages. Because it you know, gave me lots of addresses. Now, the thing with the white pages is a lot of times it was kind of hit and miss. A lot of times I'd get the wrong person. You know, I'd mail it to the wrong John Lenchy, the wrong, you know, Marge Lenchy, or the wrong Marge Sparks. And so it was kind of like a numbers game, you know. Eventually I got the right people. But it, you know, it was like a game. It was tough, but, you know, I was, you know, determined to see it through and just keep going. Yeah, the white pages, like I said, it was very, very helpful. And also Julia's book, that was very important too, because it gave me a lot of clues. Like I looked over the book several times, all of her genealogy charts, you know, it was like a blueprint for finding relatives. So all that stuff gave me several clues. And then, you know, I would use that. I'd look for people on Facebook. I would have other family members also connect with other family members on Facebook. And then I'd mail out a whole bunch of, you know, invitations, even if it was the wrong address. But in the end, you know, I did get a lot of the right addresses, and then they told other relatives. And, you know, that was very, you know, a big part of finding success. And another thing that really helped was going back and looking at all the old videotapes. So Julia's son, Dante Corsetti, he gave us a lot of videotapes. And this included the 1986 reunion. This included birthdays. There was one video called the Lenchy, it was called the Times and Lives of the Lottie Michelucci Families from 1954 to 1966. John Lenchy actually filmed the 1986 reunion, and it was so awesome for him to be able to also come to this reunion. Him and many others of the Lenchy family, Marge, Dale, and Cindy, and they were, you know, all part of the 1986 reunion too. And, you know, I was searching for them. So, you know, it's a good thing that we found each other, because, you know, I remember watching that video and I was like, what is the name of that person or that relative? Was it Cindy? Was it Cynthia? Was it John Lynchy? I couldn't really hear it because it was a really, it's from 1986. The technology is a lot different. But I kept on like guessing and guessing. And then, I'd use the white pages. I'd look them up. I'd send them an invitation. And eventually, John got back to me. Dale got back to me, and they were so excited. And just like Marge Lynchy Sparks. And I remember contacting Marge and saying, hey, do you know anyone else, in the family? Do you know anyone else? And at first she said, I'm sorry, I don't. Then she told me about Francine Bervetti. Mailed Francine Bervetti an invitation, and she got back to me right away. And the crazy thing is, so not only did the white pages help us all connect, Francine told me about the Pacifica Historical Museum. And they had our family on display there. I mean, how crazy is that? So I got a hold of, or Laura Del Rosa contacted me, and then we ended up making the newspaper later on after the committee, we all gave them, our donation from the silent auction at the reunion. So, these are just some crazy stories. I mean, I could go on and on and on, but I'm not going to talk all day about that. But yeah, I mean, looking back, it was crazy, and I don't know. I mean, if it was easy, there wouldn't have been much of a story to it. There were times where I didn't know what I was doing, and I was just making like a family tree in my own mind, just like I used to, memorize every single statistic in baseball, So, in the end, although it was tough, it was a lot of fun, and definitely so worth it. Now, many of you wondering why I did it, like what were the motivations? Well, here's the thing. There is something kind of miraculous that happened before all this started that got me into it. And I will talk about that after the reason I talk about why. Part of it was, Julia Michelucci Gervais. She's my great aunt. And when I discovered that, she did all this work about our family and how they emigrated and came to Pacifica and lived on the ranch near the castle, that was really fascinating to me. That was more fascinating than discovering treasure or a pot of gold. I mean, how could you not think that that's fascinating? And then, all of her work was featured at the Pacifica Museum. To me, that was just like priceless. And it didn't really make sense to me how she could, do all this work, and she was all about family. And she even, in her video, she said she wanted to have a lot of future family gatherings. She hoped that the next generation, would help out with that. And it didn't happen for a long time. And so to me, that didn't really make a lot of sense. It just felt way too long. And so, that is part of it. I didn't really understand how we could all not know each other, but yet she did all this work. It didn't make a lot of sense to me. And the most special thing, about, finding family and that kind of thing is that, it wasn't really about me. It wasn't just about me. It was about the whole entire, family. You know how sometimes when you're trying to achieve a goal and it's mostly about you, and that's cool and all, but for this, it was, like way more special because it involved, lots and lots of family members coming together. Now, what was the first moment where I said, I got to start looking for more members of the family? Well, first of all, I do want to say that, we're all connected to Julia, and that's really cool. She's my great aunt, and a lot of people think that she's my grandma. She's actually my grandfather's sister. And I didn't know that I was named after my grandfather Julio and Julia. So I was actually named after both of them. But she's actually a lot of your great aunts as well, or your cousin or something like that. All of us in the family, we're all related to Julia. So one day I was just, walking in Walgreens, and this is kind of how it all started. And, looking back, the odds of this happening the way it did is like 1,000,000 to 1. I mean, it's just crazy. But so I was walking to Walgreens, and I see my cousin, and he's working there. And my cousin, or our cousin, he's Ryan Pickett, grandson of Rudy Revi. And I hadn't talked to him since we were 9 or 10 years old when we played on the same soccer team. My dad was the assistant coach. But we never had any family gatherings. My dad told me that he was related to us somehow, and I didn't know how. And that was that, you know. I never talked to him for 20 years, but then, you know, once I saw him at Walgreens, you know, I asked him if he was related to me. And he kind of knew the situation, and he said, yeah. And so, you know, we started to go to movies and things like that together. It was really, really awesome to, you know, be related to one of your really good friends. I thought that was really cool. And then later on, I met his family. I met his sister Brittany and everyone else, and I thought that was really awesome to now have family that you didn't know you have. And right after that is when my father told me about Julia's book. And when I found Julia's book, well, I guess the rest is history. I just didn't see how we have all these relatives, all the charts she did. We have all these relatives. We have never gotten together. And that is when, you know, I thought to myself, you know, wouldn't it be nice if we could bring some of her work back and get everyone together? Even if it doesn't happen, right? Wouldn't it be nice to at least think about it? And so anyways, that is kind of, you know, how it happened. And I hope, you know, people understand. People are still asking. But today is June 30th, so I thought it would be a good time to share some of these stories. If you don't have a copy of these two movies, let me know. We don't want them to go to waste. There were so many people that helped me out with them. You know, we're not worried about, you know, charging money or anything like that. We just want you to have them. So please, if you don't have them, let me know. So what else can I say? I hope that you got something out of this video. Francine Brevetti is actually writing a blog post about her family, and check that out. It's going to be out pretty soon. There's still so many of you that I haven't met yet, on all the different sides of my family. Some I may have talked to quite a few times on the internet, but it would be nice to actually meet in real life. Not now, but, you know, when everything's over, it would be great to meet you. Or, you know, for those of you that I haven't, you know, seen in decades or years, you know, let's end that streak. For those, you know, related, I hope that you do get a chance to read Julia's book. It was really something that she worked really hard at many years ago. And one last thing, I've never been to Italy. I've never really been outside the United States, to be honest, other than Canada. But wouldn't it be nice? I mean, what would it be like to actually meet relatives that live there? So if you know where any of them live, you know, whether it be the Lecce or Michelucci side, let me know. I'd be very interested in visiting. I would really love to visit that place one day. There's so many, you know, places that I'd like to go to. You know, in genealogy, you know, it isn't something that you just, you know, start and quit. You know, it's something that you do on and off throughout your life. That's the beauty of it. You know, the story unfolds the more that you do it. And anyways, thanks for watching this channel. Hope that it provided you with some inspiration. And it's been an amazing experience. Thank you.